Hi everyone, I hope you are all well. Sorry it's taken me like 3 weeks to get this review to you, but I've not been well. It's either been two colds that have been like sort of back to back, or it's been one bug that just hasn't left my system. I've had it, 3 weeks in total, but I'm finally feeling so much better. I am so happy. But that really did affect my reading because it meant that I just didn't have the energy to read, or when I had a bit of energy, I would look at the page and I just couldn't get into it. It was really, really, really frustrating. So I'm really, really happy that now I have finished the book that I'm here to review, and that is Full Dark, No Stars by Stephen King. Now, as you may know, or if you're watching this completely unaware of my channel, I have been reading a few Stephen King books back to back, two of them novels, and then this collection of short stories. I had read it a couple of years ago, right before the first part of the new film franchise came out, which I really liked. And when I was about 17, 18, I read the 4-season short story collection, which included The Body, aka Stand By Me, and Shawshank Redemption. So this is now me. I haven't read any short stories by Stephen King since I was about 17. So then shifting into this book was quite interesting. So, and the two Stephen Kings which I had previously read before this one were The Green Mile and Misery. So, that's the background of my interactions with Stephen King's books. So, as I said, I wasn't feeling great, and when I finally had the energy and the want to read and actually take it in, I was quite taken aback by Full Dark, No Stars. This is a collection of short stories. This edition actually has a bonus short story in there, as you can see. It's not a long short story shows. That sounds really strange, but it's only about like 10 or so pages or something. It's really, really short compared to the other ones, which are about 150 pages long each. So as you can see, only having like 10 or so pages, it's very short. To be honest, I don't really know why it's in there, but that was just when I came across it. I was like, this is really at the back of the book, not long. Anyway, shut up, Becky. So this short story collection really is about people in extreme circumstances and what people do in those circumstances. So 1922 is the first story, which has been made into a Netflix film a couple of years ago. I haven't had a chance to watch it before doing this review. I did want to, but I got distracted. I've been watching Breaking Bad and such, which my sister and our friend Sarah got me onto, so I haven't had a chance to watch it. But if I do at some point, I will let you know how I feel. So the first one's called 1922, about a farmer in Nebraska in 1922 who you're told in the opening sentence that this is his confession for murdering his wife. And the story follows his confession of how his wife inherited a load of land literally right next to their farm through her father, and how she wanted to sell the farm and this land and move into the city, and he didn't want to. He was very much grew up on the land, and farming and everything was very important to him, and he felt that those lands that she had inherited actually should go to him because he is the husband, he's the leader of the family. So he decides to murder her and get their 14-year-old son involved into it as well, and everything to help him out. So I was a bit like, okay, that's interesting. Then Big Driver, which follows a woman who is a crime novelist, and she's giving a reading, and she gets told, the main bypass away, but there's some trouble on there. If you take this quick route, this other way you'll get through. She goes that way and is savagely attacked, raped, and left for dead, and it's about her getting through that and then tracking down who did this to her. Fair Extension is the next one, which is about a man who's told that he has cancer, that he's like dying of cancer. There's nothing more they can do, but he is asked that if he was to give like 5 years of his life and 10 years of his life in exchange for getting rid of his cancer, would he do that? And it's like yes, no, and the choice that he makes and what impact that has on life for his family and such going forward and everything. That is a very interesting one. That actually reminded me of a story that my dad told me about that Stephen King also has. I think it's a full novel, this one, about a shop where which is kind of like owned by like the devil or something, which it's just there, but no one really knows anything about it. And if you go in, you find the thing that you want, and what you would exchange for it. So it's making a deal with the devil, basically. So that's kind of what this is in a short story term. And then the final one, where's the list gone? The final story is A Good Marriage, which is about a woman who's a couple very happily married, but the wife discovers that her husband has a hidden secret to do with missing people, and how she reacts to that. So those are the 4 stories, and then there's a final one in this edition, like I said, but I'm not going to mention that one. But I was a bit like, okay, right, I'm going to go with this. And I was really taken aback by this. I mean, I knew Stephen King goes very dark with his stories because obviously I have experience of reading other Stephen King books, but I wasn't anticipating that he would like slam it over my head like with a sledgehammer at times. I was just a bit like, whoa, did you have to go to that extreme? Now that's not me being sensitive, or maybe because I just got out of this bug, or I was still getting out this bug and feeling a bit better that I was starting to read this. Maybe my usual thoughts and feelings about darkness in writing had shifted. I don't know. But I was just a bit like, whoa, I was not anticipating that, especially Big Driver. I was really taken aback by Big Driver. Yeah, I felt like I would have preferred some of these stories to have been longer, and I think that it is because how he's shortening his usual storytelling time, as it were, in pages. He's literally, you're getting all of this information literally rammed down your throat, kind of, as the story goes on. I mean, he is still absolutely amazing with his settings, his words, use of words in this very much made me feel how I felt about the use of words in Misery, where I was really taken aback by these passages, these brutal, almost stabbing punches, or stabbing motion kind of words that just came out of nowhere in a sentence that you wouldn't associate those words to come from were there. So I was really happy that he was writing still in that way. I mean, he's an absolute genius, but sometimes it kind of felt like, okay, I need a bit of a break, I need a breather. And some of these stories, like especially like 1922, literally the first sentence is saying, I'm confessing to the murder of my wife. To whom it may concern, my name is Wilfrid Leland James, and this is my confession. In June of 1922, I murdered my wife, Arlette Christina Winter James, and hid her body by tipping it down an old well. Like, Jesus! I felt like, okay, I need a bit of a breather, and you don't get that breathe space. You feel so claustrophobic at times. And so I can understand why it's called Full Dark No Stars, because it is so dark and bleak. And at times it actually reminded me of Irvine Welsh, with how I feel about his writing, how he will take you to the deepest, darkest void in existence. I kept on thinking about Irvine Welsh when I was reading this. So I would say that I enjoyed it, because I can't lie, I did enjoy it, but at the same time, it didn't quite work for me. I think I needed, or at least maybe it's just me, how I feel with his short stories, perhaps, or maybe just this collection of short stories, that it felt like it was too much happening in the amount of pages that that he gave to each of the stories. I needed to catch my breath. And it's a power punch. It truly is a power punch of a book. I think I would read it again, but now that I know what it contains, I'm prepared for the future. Maybe I think it might be a good idea for me to actually read some more short stories of his. Because, like I said, I mean, the other short story collection that I read was when I was about 17 or 18 or something. And although, like, I can distinctly remember reading The Body in Shawshank Redemption, I can't remember the other books in that, other stories in that. And one of those stories is At People, which is, has this crazy, great premise, and I can't actually remember reading it. So maybe it's just a case of that I have detached from my mind, and I need to review those short stories again and see if he has changed his structure over time. Maybe it's just because the darkness of this is. I wonder if it is a shift in time and shift of perspective of things and everything that maybe has done that. Because it's kind of like, I suppose, like, the reason why I say that is I'm just thinking right now of Alan Bennett, because his first series of these wonderful monologues called Talking Heads, which I strongly recommend, they are so good, they were dark, but they really weren't. And then his series 2, after he was diagnosed with cancer, and he thought that they were going to be released after his death. Thankfully, he got the all clear, and he's still with us. But if you look at series 2, it goes really dark and sinister. Because he, I saw an interview with him, and he was said that when you put yourself in a different place, or even look at writing over time, you see things, you learn things shift in your perspective, and it can really impact your writing. So maybe that's what this is. Maybe Stephen, when he wrote this, was in a different headspace than when he was writing other stuff. I honestly don't know. But yeah, I think I would read it again, but now I'm prepared for what is in it. But if you're coming across this for the first time, I would say expect to be hit with a lot of powerful stuff, not to have much breathing space, and go for quite a dark, sinister ride, but enjoy it at the same time. I'm not going to read from it, just because, obviously, because these are short stories and they're all very different and such. And as I said, it's bleak, and it's so you get a lot of stuff thrown at you. I don't want to spoil any of various events that happen in this book, but the synopsis that I gave you of each of the short stories is a good platform to go off. So yes, would I read this again? Yeah, I would, but now I know what to expect, and it has made me want to continue reading Stephen King and look at his other short stories. Would I recommend this? Yes, I would. But I would let people know what I thought about it first, just so that they've got a heads up of what to expect. But yes, I think it's great storytelling. It's kind of perfect for this kind of time of year as well. But it was really funny because when I had the energy to read and everything, and at the moment it's getting dark here in the UK about 4:30 in the afternoon or something, and I felt really funny reading it at night, just curled up on the sofa, nice cup of tea, and reading about murder and darkness and sinister, all this kind of stuff, and extreme reactions that people have and choices that they make. It was really quite funny. But anyway, that's what I thought of Stephen King's Full Dark, No Stars. As I said, I haven't had a chance to watch the 1922 film, and actually, A Perfect Marriage, that last story, was also made into a film, and I can't for the life of me remember what it's called, because it's not called A Perfect Marriage. It's slightly, I think it might be like called The Good Marriage or something like that. It's slightly different. If I find the details, I'll put it in the description for you. But yeah, that's what I thought of those, and I will possibly review those films when I get around to it. Have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment in the comments box below. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely up to you. I'll let you decide. And I will be back to announce what book I'm going to be reading next. And I'm actually announcing the next 3 books. Yeah. And I hope you enjoy the choices. All right, guys. Bye.